Last week we talked about this Bach Invention in A minor, number 13. Decided that the eighth notes are going to have a medium default staccato. We asked the students to go home and practice it in pulse with articulation, and the pulse was going to be at the half note level. When that is secure, then we move on to the shaping. And there are three phrases here. They end at the end of a well-defined cadence, which happens in measures 6, 13, and the last measure. I believe that the phrase climax is also right here at the defined cadence. So what we're trying to do is go from here to here. That's pretty difficult. So we have some of this going on, and how do we know what to do? Obviously, you can just do what you feel. Make sure that you're going up and down, because the fastest way to put a listener to sleep is to play Baroque music with absolutely no dynamic variation. But if we can use the theory that we have studied, then maybe we can unlock what's here and use that information to create an organic interpretation that's based on what's here. And I find it a very valuable use of lesson time. Let's have a look at measure 3. There's a sequence that begins here. It repeats itself lower and lower and lower. Now you can try a sequence getting louder, 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 or softer, softer, softer. And you decide. I'm going to put forth to you one way that I think works. But it's by no means the only way to play this invention. Is just one way that can work. And you may agree with 2 of my phrase shapes, and maybe not the third one, and that's okay. Totally, you just use whatever is useful to you. So in measure 3, you have a sequence, and the first phrase is rather short, and so a rather straightforward ascent to the phrase climax, I think, works really well. And I won't take the time to demonstrate that, but it just goes straight through to measure 6. Now the next one ends at measure 13. And in measures 11 and 12, you have rather interesting, adventuresome harmony here, and rhythm that is getting more intense, because at points you have both hands playing 16th notes. So by that point, at measures 11 and 12, there needs to be some intensity. You need to have built up to 11 and 12 for that to feel like it makes sense. You can't just all of a sudden get loud there. So what comes before needs to lead up to it. Well, the sequence starts at measure 9. So let's get louder from measure 9 and see. What we're going to do first is the phrase starts in measure 7. And I suggest a subito piano. You know, at the point where you finish a phrase and you finished with a climax that's based on the cadence and it's loud, you have 2 choices to begin the next phrase. You can start and dovetail and make it equally loud and then go down from there, or you can just drop down and have a subito piano, and that's what I think works, and it would sound like this. Let's see. Crescendo starts, sequence, and there you have it. Now the next phrase I'm going to suggest needs to start with another subito piano. We have a sequence that starts immediately, and when we get to measures 19 and 20, it's as if the pot boils over, and that's a good little analogy to use with students. If the pot boils over, why? Because both hands have 16th notes. It's a much more intense spot. We have to have built up before that. So if you start this phrase loud and let it go down, you're not going to be there. It's just a matter of sort of mapping it out in a puzzle, you know. So I like to, at measure 14 at the beginning of phrase number 3, drop down with a subito piano, and then build to this point where the pot boils over and measure 19, and then go all the way to the end climax. Now, there is one little point between 19 and the end where I think you can let it go just a little bit, and that would be measures 20 and 21. They can come down just a little bit and up. Let me just play you starting at 18. Bottom out, crescendo, and that would be absolutely all the time you would be allowed to take at the end, and that might be borderline almost too much. And notice as the harmonies began to move fast, that I slowed down just a little bit. I also became more articulate, much as we do when we talk. You know, if we're going to say something, guess what? I am going to the beach. we only do that when we're excited, and that's what happens here. That fits really well, and that's a principle you can carry with you. So thanks for hanging in there to the end of this video, and I hope that helps you with your invention teaching, especially this one in A minor.